and welcome to another episode by A Wagging Success, where we talk about everything with dogs, for dogs, about dogs, and anything around dogs. Hi, Philip.
Hello, Tertia. Yeah, winter is finally here. And I think the dogs also feel it because it's bitterly cold down here at the coast. But yeah, we carry on.
We carry on. It's in full swing up here in Gauteng as well. We're definitely feeling the bite.
As you can see, thick jackets.
Yep, scarves, the works. But that's not what we're here to talk about. Today, we're here to talk about introducing a new dog into your household, specifically when you already have a dog living with you and now you're adding a dog into your household. We're going to talk about whether it's a puppy that you're adding or if you're adding another adult dog. So, we'll talk about some practical tips and guidelines and just try and offer some advice for new dog owners who are adding dogs to their household. Philip, take us away, please.
Okay, Tertia, firstly, I think welcome to all the viewers and listeners and all the rest. And I hope everybody's warm tonight, wherever you may be. Yeah, and that you're keeping your dogs warm and that they've all got a nice warm place to sleep. All right, so introduction of a new dog into the structure. Remember, we refer to a household as a structure, not just ordinary household, because to them it's not a household, it's a structure. So it's a outside dog entering into a new structure where there are humans, there are other dogs, possibly cats, and they all form part of the new structure that this animal's coming to. So we can never do an introduction with dogs when you bring the new dog or the stranger onto home turf. With the smaller breeds, it's often fine. They just smell and do their bit, and there might be a growl or two and a bit of bitchiness for a week or so, but nothing serious and obviously very easy to control. When you're bringing medium-sized to large dogs in and introducing them to each other, don't do it on home turf. Don't even go there. Get onto neutral ground, get both dogs leashed up. Don't leave them to make contact with each other, to smell each other. Remember, they can smell each other from far enough, so they don't need to get their noses up against each other. So leashes on and go and take yourself for a good 4 or 5 kilometer walk if possible. And look at the dog, see if they are showing signs of nervousness, aggression, any issues, and sort it out on the walks. It's the best way to introduce dogs to each other. And it's not just going to be one walk. You most probably going to have to keep them apart for a while and walk them every day until they accept each other, until they accept that they're forming a new structure, a new pack. And on the walk, stay far away enough from each other in the beginning, and then gradually come closer. Some dogs accept each other very quickly, others not. And if they don't accept each other, you'll pick up the issues on the walk. And as you walk every day, just gradually come closer and closer, but don't let them make contact. As you get closer, you're going to see if there are any issues. You're going to see it on the body language. You're going to see these animals giving each other the eye. And what I like to do is to alternate the dogs, one walking in front, one behind at some stage, because the dog is most uncomfortable when there's another dog behind him. He's most vulnerable for attack from behind, so they're going to be very uncomfortable with that. And until they trust each other, that discomfort is going to be there. So rotate, alternate, walk next to each other, just out of reach of each other, then alternate between front and back, get the distances closer as you go along. And at some stage, you're going to see they're going to be actually be uh, happy or excited to see each other when you start going out for the walk, and then you know that you've achieved your goal, and from there things will go easier. But if there are any signs or anything starting to happen, catch it before the accident happens. Go back to square one, start all over again, and just remember all these things take a lot of patience and a lot of time. There's no quick fix and there's no overnight thing. It all takes time. If
Mm.
you're bringing a puppy in and you have bigger dogs, um, I like to have the puppy in a crate. Bring it into the house. If your dog lives inside the house, bring the puppy into the house in the crate. Travel crates are good where your dog can smell, but he can't reach. He can't make contact. He can't suddenly grab the puppy and kill him
Mm.
because he's an intruder. And it also gives the pup, because the puppy is going to be very fearsome, and it gives the puppy time to settle. It'll give your dog time to settle. Again, some dogs will accept a puppy into the household without any problems, but others, no, they're not going to do it. And don't think because you've got a Dachshund, he's going to accept another puppy in the house. Not necessarily, okay? So be very wary. Um, I like to have the owners sit in the lounge with their dog on leash, um, and puppy also possibly leashed or the crate open so that the puppy can move around, and then watch my dog's reaction, see whether there are any issues. And remember, in both scenarios, if a dog shows any intent, um, correct the behavior immediately. Don't wait. Correct it immediately before it escalates. And when you're out on the walk with the bigger dogs, make sure those dogs are walking next to you. Don't have one dog walking in front. They've got to know that they are following. They're not leading. So you don't want one of the dogs on leash, the new dog or your current dog, sort of leading the walk. He must be next to you on leash, other dog next to the other person, husband, or whoever it may be, on leash next to them, and you keep them next to you. If anybody's going to be walking ahead, it's going to be one of you two, not the dog. So don't let the dog pull on leash and go ahead. They are very sensitive to that because that tells them that other dog is busy taking the leading role. And if they don't accept that, there's going to be tension, and there's going to be problems. So a lot of small things to be wary of. Initially, don't feed the dogs together. Feed them separately because we don't know if your new dog has food aggression. We don't know if your dog's suddenly going to develop food aggression. So feed them separately until you can get to the point where you've got both bowls, you're putting them down, and you're putting the first one down to the dog that's the calmest, and then you'll move to the side and put the other one down, and you'll stay there while they eat. If there's any intent, any signs, step in immediately and correct it. Don't let them start switching balls, and because the fight's going to happen.
So
It's
we consistently want to be proactive and get ahead of any incidents that might occur. We're hitting that brake before the accident happens throughout this whole process, and we're setting ourselves up in such a way that we can do that. So we're not just chucking two dogs together and hoping for the best.
very dangerous to just chuck them together. If there are issues, a lot of times when people bring another dog in and it's already an older dog, year old, maybe 2 years old, it is a rescue dog, or it is somebody that has given you a dog because they can't look after it anymore, whatever the case may be. Um, And when you've got a rescue dog, you don't have the history. You don't know why that dog was surrendered to an organization or the SPCA, whatever the case may be. You have no idea. And these institutions don't have history. And if they do have, they don't tell you very easily, because to them, the most important thing is to get that animal out and get it into a home, which is a big mistake. And it's wrong, because you're placing the dogs and the new owners in danger. And this dog will keep coming back. I know our local SPCA doesn't like you to go and, if you want to adopt a dog, go and walk with it and spend time with it for 2 or 3 weeks before you take it. They have all sorts of issues, rules, regulations, which to me is wrong. You should be allowed to adapt to this dog, get to know it in its current circumstances, take it home for visits, and then take it back to make sure that this dog's going to be fine. Because if you don't have the history, that dog could be there because it has aggression, because it has attacked, because it is reactive. There could be a lot of reasons. If you're getting a dog from somebody else who you know very well, different story because you've got the history. But if you get it from a stranger, again, why are they letting the dog really? What's the real reason for letting the dog go or surrendering the dog to you? People are very inclined to find lost pets in the street and pick them up and take them home. And before they know it, all hell is loose and there's trouble. Um, you don't know whether dogs' injections are up to date. You don't know if it's carrying any diseases. So again, these are all things you have to make sure of before you take another dog, an older dog, to your home. And then just on the other side, make sure your dog's injections are up to date, especially if you're bringing in a puppy. A puppy should, in actual fact, not be uh, introduced or spend time with another dog until he's had all his injections. Because if he's had one or two, he's still not immune to all the diseases. And if your dog's carrying anything, it's possible the puppy's going to pick it up as well. So there's so many things to check. And I always say, before you go that route, getting another puppy, make a checklist, get everything written down. A vitally important thing is that some breeders tend to give the puppy his first jab. It's not done by a vet. And if they give the second jab too early, it nullifies the first jab. It takes it out of the picture. And then that dog is going to get sick. We had a case here with a Belgian Malinois who came from a breeder. And the breeder gave the first jab, and then the vet gave the second one too soon. And it was within 2-3 weeks, this dog was very sick, and it died. And when they tried to take the breeder on because of what had happened, it was hands in the air. We did the right thing. We gave the jab. The vet gave the second one too early. But if the vet gave the second one too early, then the question arises, did you keep record of the first one? The date, etc. So there's so many things to check before you even bring a dog home. Puppy, fine. Make sure the jabs are good. Make sure it's a reputable breeder. We have had breeders that have sold dogs, registered breeders, and the dogs were, I think, 3 months old, two Alsatians that come from the same litter. 3 months old, and the hip dysplasia was so bad that the dogs had to be put down. And when the breeder was approached and all the institutions connected to these registered breeders and stuff, everybody just put their hands up in there. They didn't even offer to other dogs. They didn't offer a refund. They did nothing. So we diverting a bit. But if you get a dog from a breeder, a reputable breeder, registered breeder, make sure the contract you get stipulates that should there be any breeding defects or anything, that the dog is returned and that you are refunded.
Mm.
Don't go for another dog. Replace it with another dog, because if it comes from the same litter or same strain, the mother or the father, the possibility is there that another dog's going to have the same problems. So go and make a list before you even think of getting a dog. Make a list. Decide what type of dog you want. Is it going to adapt into your structure? Are you going to be able to get it to adapt? Are you going to be able to spend the time? Follow the rules. Tisha, I've always said there are rules for a reason. Follow them and you're going to be fine. Don't follow them and you're going to have problems. It's like a flipping stop street. You know the stop street down the road here. There's never cops there, and you just drive through it. You never stop, never stop. But one day, you're either going to drive into somebody else, or the cops are going to be there and they're going to catch you. And this is the same thing. You keep breaking the rules, it's going to catch up. And when it does catch up, you've got a lot of problems. Some people have grown to love them and absolutely love them. And then 2 months later, they've got to have them put down because of a breeder's fault. Or they've get to absolutely adore an animal, love at first sight from an institution that is rescued, and within a month, this dog's got to go back to the institution because you didn't do your homework. You didn't check, you didn't go through your checklist and make sure. I've trained the SPCA here, and my point has always been if you bring a dog in, it should be isolated so that if it's carrying any contagious disease, it can be picked up. It should be checked for food aggression, sleeping aggression, sociability, adaptation. All these things should be checked and then only taken to the vet. And the final check and medical injections or whatever it needs is given to it. If things are wrong, unfortunately, before it goes to the vet, or when it does go to the vet, it's to be put down. I've had the SPCA here. I've advised them to put a dog down, which has attacked people terribly, and they have or did not listen. And they decided to rehome the dog to a farm, and within a week, it attacked the child and the father on the farm. And then they had to bring it back to the SPCA, and then they had to have it put down. So it's the same with you as an individual. If you're bringing a dog into your house, into your structure, make sure everything's right. Make sure there aren't problems. Be it a puppy from a breeder, and you're going to introduce it, make sure the jabs are done correctly. Make sure you follow the rules, you do it in the correct manner before your dog decides that it's an unwelcome guest within the structure. Because remember, any dog you bring in is a stranger, and he's trespassing, and he's coming into the structure and he's not welcome. So you've got to get them adapted first. And if it's an older dog, you need the history, you need all the checks done. And again, it might cost you a bit of money, but wherever you are, there will be a trainer or a behaviorist or a combination of the two. I prefer a combination of the two. The day you're going to select a dog, take that person with you. If the institution doesn't have behaviorists that can assess an animal and check it when it comes in, take your own. Make sure it's somebody you know, or somebody that has a good reputation, that knows what he or she's doing, that has the practical experience, not just the theoretical experience or the papers. We've done a theoretical little course, which has cost us a lot of money because it's a mincemeat machine. They also push the people through just to make more money. Um, make sure it's somebody good. It costs you a bit of money, but take that person with you to help with the training.
Considering
And
considering the fact that you're making a very long commitment taking in a dog,
absolutely.
15
And if
plus,
it's all wrong, that's going to cost you a lot more money than what the behaviorist is going to cost you.
yes.
And the trainer, for that matter, it'll cost you a lot more money when things go wrong.
So, Philip, I would like to add on one thing to this
Absolutely.
discussion. It's a question we often get when people are struggling with their current dog with behavioral issues. They often ask us whether they should get a second dog. So, for example, my dog is destructive and very high energy, and now he's ruining my garden. And then they ask, should they get a second dog? And the answer is never to get a second dog to
No,
resolve the behavioral problems of the dog you currently have. And as Philip explained with the walk, if your current dog is well trained, used to walking, has strong area adaptation, was well socialized, then that walk is going to go well. It's going to be 100-fold better to do the right thing and follow the right steps when you introduce a second dog. So always look at the dog you have now and ask yourself, is this dog the best version of themselves before you bring in a second dog? Because every dog you add to your household is going to ask 100% of you, and the second dog asks 200%, a third 300%. It adds up. You can't split your 100%. So that's very important to remember, is to focus on the dog you have now, ensure that their issues are resolved first, work with a trainer, work with a behaviorist before adding another dog to your household.
the question, Tisha, that you've put out there about I should get another dog for my dog. People forget that um, as we discussed earlier, you're bringing this dog into a structure which is already a settled structure, which is already working. If your dog has got behavior issues and you bring in a second dog and the second dog has behavior issues, you've got 10 times the behavior issues you need. Rather take your dog,
Yes.
spend the time with your dog, and get your issues sorted out. Your dog's is
And I
quite
think
happy
it's,
within that structure without other dogs. Don't bring in more problems. Arrange if you feel your dog needs to be with other dogs. For goodness sake, go to training, go to play dates, do things with your dog. Don't bring another one into the house because no matter how good your dog is, it's the other dog that could be the problem. And from the other dog, your dog's going to start developing issues.
yes.
Because remember, monkey see, monkey do. So it's not to say that that dog, the new dog, is going to take on your dog's manners. It's quite possible your dog's going to take on the new dog's manners. And if you have a structure forming within a structure, if those two dogs form a pack of their own within the main structure, big problems. Substructures within the main structures, big problems. Difficult to sort out. And unfortunately, this is where 90% of household dogs get put down
Yes.
because they form the structure, they start, they may be a bit of a powerful breed, they start climbing within the structure, they get on top, they own space, they own things, and one day they turn around and they attack you, um, and off they go. And then you blame the dog. No, it's you. So be very careful. Think, and think, and abide by the rules at all times when it comes to these animals.
This is also a very good measurement to determine whether you are ready to have an additional dog in your household. Because if you do not have the time, the resources, the finances to get a behaviorist or trainer, for example, to fix the one dog you have and resolve all of their issues and ensure they are well trained, then you will also not have the time and the finances and the resources for a second dog and everything they will bring to the table. So people should bear that in mind.
Yeah. It's a very interesting subject. There are a lot of people that, what, we'll just chuck them in there. And as I said earlier, sometimes it works, but I reckon 70% of the time it doesn't work.
Mm. Yes.
I've just seen it not working. And this is where we love the work, we love our jobs, but it's very sad to see these things happening. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah. You know, I always say, you look at the best socialized area adapted obedient dog is a hobo's dog.
Yes.
Because he follows, he couldn't be bothered about what's going on around him. The world can explode and go on, he just follows. Dogs can bark, cats, anything, people, he just goes, he just follows. Um, if you've got two dogs like that, you're in the right place. But that's a one off in a million.
No, that's true. Okay, so I think we can wrap this up here because we can keep talking about this topic for quite a long time.
Absolutely. Mm.
But we'll leave you with the basics. These are the criteria, these are some practical steps to follow, and most especially things to consider before you take that step. So, to keep on learning about dogs and all things about dogs, where we have interesting chats, make sure to like, follow, subscribe to our channel. We appreciate it. We appreciate everybody's support. We'd like to keep on doing this.
Yes, please do. If you guys subscribe and like, it gives us a reason to carry on and make it worth your while.
Okay, but until next time, thank you so much. And I hope everybody out there stays warm, safe, and give their dogs lots of extra blankets, jackets, and cuddles in this weather. Cheers.
Absolutely.